firmament as something that's tangible thing, something that is real. It's not an abstract idea, right? Sometimes when we think of heaven, and then think of it as basically. When growing up, I never really understood the concept of the waters above, but when we're talking about the heavens, as I grow older, I realize it's something that's tangible. The fact that it's very scientific and very practical. It's not that idea of abstract. The firmament. And you know, it's so beautiful that when we study the Word of God, when growing up, I never really understood the concept of the waters above, the waters below. But as I grow older, for me, when I realize this verse, I always think back to the scientific and very practical. The idea of when you think of the water cycle, we know there's the waters, the rivers, the lakes, the oceans. We know that water. It's easy for us to talk about that water. But when we're talking about the water, and for me, when I think of that's the water that I always think back to the water cycle. It basically evaporates and then condenses, and there's water in the air. Even when you the water cycle, you know there's the very high altitudes, the lakes, the oceans. If you're not from that area, you will struggle to talk about that water. Because when we're talking about the water, the altitude is above. That's the water that you're used to, and it just shows us. It goes to show that God evaporates and then condenses, and there's water in the these air. Things, even when you perhaps long time ago, scientifically, to very high altitude places of these, right? And we would if you're not from that area, you will struggle in the sky. But there is because the sky, the altitude is different on the floor as well. The places that you're used to. So and it just shows us. It goes to show that God truly is amazing. And that is these things, the firmament. And then it says, and God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning, like what were the second in the sky? But there is water in the sky. There's water. So on the second day. Let's review quickly. What did God create on the first day? That is light, right? He said, let there be light, and God called the firmament heaven. And then on the second day, what did he create? Were the second day. Technically, he created a space, right, to separate on the second day above and the waters let's review below. Quickly. What and did then God create on the third day, it says that God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was technically so. He created a space, and God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters below called seas. And then on the third day, it says that God said, let the waters we can see here the step by step nature into one place, how God and let the dry land appear, and it was so. He's not a haphazard and God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. But we see that he's taking step by step. It was good. It looks like a well planned. We can see here the step by step nature blueprint of the earth, God right? Creates things or does how it. God makes things first, he separates the waters from the waters up there and the waters down here, and then now we have a whole lot of water on the earth, right? But he's taking different creatures to live. It looks like a well-planned environment. So he now is separating the water of the earth, right? He does land appearing. First, he separates the waters from the waters. Then it says, then God said, let the earth bring forth grass. We have a whole lot of herbs that yield seed, but God wants fruit. Different creatures to live in different environments. So he now is separating the water in the earth, and it was so. Imagine if God had said, let there be plants, and there wasn't any sand or any land. It says, then God said, it's strategic, bring step by step, right? We need lands that yield seed and the fruit. So God trees that yield fruit according to its has this land, and now it's there in itself, covered, right? The earth, so then he starts to create. Imagine if God had said, let there be plants, and when you think of the trees and any land, the grass and the plants, you know, it's strategic. God didn't just step by step, right? We need land for there to be plants. It is practical, right? So God, because God knew that He was creating food, has this land, all the creatures that He was going to be covered, right? So then he starts to create. He doesn't just make it practical. And when you think of the trees and in our lives and the plants, sometimes God didn't just make things practical. The way God it is practical, right? In our lives, because God seems like He was why am I going through this? all the creatures that he was going to create in our lives as if it's right random things happening. He doesn't just make it practical in our lives, also makes it beautiful.
But God always
in our lives as well.
He knows the
Sometimes
bigger picture.
We don't
He sees
understand
everything
the way God
He sees the beginning
from